Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV and Channel 99. With us today again is Nat Lowell. Welcome, Nat.
Nice to see you, Dan.
We have a bunch of stuff we need to talk about, but I've got a couple of things.
Cliff notes of everything. Cliff notes.
Yeah, but what I want to ask you about first is there's a tremendous rate of construction on this island to the point where the contractors can't get people to work for them. When they do, they pay through the nose. The customers are paying through the nose. Is this good for the island at the where it is now, or is this something that we should try to figure out a way to slow down a little bit?
Well, I mean,
you've got renovations, which are one thing. You've still got
it's really what you're really seeing now, Dan. To be honest with you, is investment. People are investing in Nantucket. Think of Nantucket as like this big retirement plan, 401k sort of mindset. Mm-hmm. It's $400 a square foot to build a cheap house now on Nantucket. Right. No one would have believed that 20 years ago. The money that's being spent here,
and it's up to $1,000.
Right, for the real,
yeah.
I know. I'm just right. So. I mean, we had this in the '80s. Late 80s, the Cessnas buzzing over, Squam and Quidnet, every 2 seconds, how many sections on the first flight? 5, and we didn't even have a time. You just showed up at the airport and got on a plane.
Another subject.
But it's the same. No, but I know that. I don't mean to say that because you're the airport commander. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about trying to come up with a way to say we did this before. But now it's a little bit different because you've got large projects, municipal and private, happening sort of at once. Or not at once, continuously. Mm-hmm. I think when one's done, another one starts. Broad Street in the last 3 years, I mean, we have the schools going on, but there are other big projects that continuously pop up. I mean, we had the yacht club several years ago, phase 1 and phase 2. There's only so much that can fit on boats to get the materials over here. So when you say, is it a good thing or not, I think it sort of just takes care of itself. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to say that there isn't a problem, but you can't say, well, this is it. We're going to stop issuing building permits or approvals for special permits or whatever the case may be, whether it's through planning, HDC, doesn't matter. And the by right stuff as well. You can't just end it and stop somewhere. I think just the natural ebb and flow of how complicated stuff is to get done sort of regulates itself. It's self-regulating to some level. A lot of municipal projects that are slated for a certain year, like through the capital programs, mm-hmm. can't get done in those years because of seasonality. So things get jammed into the fall, right? And then here comes the winter. Now the asphalt plant can't run. Cement is harder to mix. Different issues happen. We pray for good weather in the winter, but when it gets bad, now things get backed up. Then all of a sudden you got the spring window before Memorial Day or before Daffodil, or even the wine festival is now kind of a holiday Nantucket weekend. So we're limited just in how to get something done here. So I don't think we need to mess with anything. I think we just need to observe all the obstacles that we already have to get something done here, Dan. And if somebody wants to spend the money, they're going to spend it.
But it's not investing in Nantucket because most of that money is going back somewhere else.
But it's staying here as far as tax revenue, as far as jobs. Nantucket, I mean, I always say this, we're 99% employed here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty tough to not.
It's more like 120%.
I don't like to say 100, although I've gotten in trouble for saying it. So I don't say 100 anymore. I say 99.
I'll say it because people working 2 jobs.
It's true. That's right. And in Nantucket, I mean, it really does circulate. The money does. I don't want to say all stays here, but the money from away, the big money, is coming into the island. So I don't buy the money's being sent away as much as I used to anymore. I think that's kind of a misnomer. Okay? I mean, the money from, all right, who's paying for the boat? Off-island people. Mm-hmm. They're paying for our kids to travel at $7 to play sports, and for the other schools to travel for $7. We wouldn't even have a sports program if it wasn't for the summer people and the summer cars. The same with the houses. You know where the tax revenue comes from. I mean, you know where it comes from. I mean, I don't have to get into that again.
No.
And we're adding value to the existing land. So every time there's a one-lot subdivision, the taxes
What's gonna happen
double.
when it's full?
It's never going to be full. There's no way to say that. It's not like a plane that has 9 seats or a 100 seats or a movie theater that has a cap.
But
It's not like that.
But if things were frozen, zoning were frozen where it is today.
Zoning isn't making more building. Do you see?
No, that's bullshit.
No,
Excuse my French.
No, it's not. You're wrong.
is it?
We're reducing overall, aggregately, we're reducing the amount of by right building with zoning changes. Even though when you see the controversy over lug 2 to lug 1, which is not doubling the amount of ground cover, by the way, just so you know, you're not seeing how much of the RC2 and the really dense build anything you want zoning that we've removed and put in a different
You mean
district.
like next door here?
But that was already allowed by right,
I know,
Dan.
I know, I know,
I'm sorry to.
I understand it was.
The topic about the generational stuff on Main Street and other core district issues is almost a topic for another interview just by itself. There's a lot of subdividable land in the core district that people don't see. You just don't know it.
Right.
It's a 5,000 square foot
This
zoning
one you
district.
happen to see.
This one was somewhat, it kind of hanging out there for years. It'd be like Miss Ham's Field all of a sudden having 4 houses on it. Down on Mill Street. I'm just saying.
No, but what was done out here on the Madigan Road, where that guy used to ride back and forth? with his
The
lawn?
Madigan Road development, but you can't have all land that's left. Like Lucretia Mott Lane, they just did a huge building move over there, and it's or Judith Chase, whatever. One of them, I think Judith Chase, and they shifted it around. Thank God for Toscana and the other companies, Phil and who else is moving houses. The Barretts are doing it now. Being able to move a house like moving a couch is amazing. And it's allowing for properties to get sort of readjusted to ground cover. That's what you're seeing now. All this Mid-Island stuff, what you're seeing on 82 and 84 Surfside, you're going to see more of that because the land is already buildable, but the houses were built smack dab in the middle of the lot, so nothing else could really get put. Nobody thought about things like that in the 60s and 70s, Dan.
Right.
I mean, it's true. I mean,
It's
I'm not
true.
making
No,
anything
that's
up.
true.
This is just fact.
Wow. With a slight.
What? It's true.
With a slight bent to it.
What's
anyway.
the bent? I mean, what is it? Just because I'm a planning board member, I want more houses? That's not true. I've learned a lot about people's property rights. Massachusetts is very, it's funny how we're, Taxachusetts, liberal state, but we're very pro-property right. We have land court. We have things that are sort of back to Ben Franklin stuff. It's amazing. And so we're in a sort of a very regulated state, but very free when it comes to building rights. So people don't want to lose those rights. They might want somebody else to lose their rights, but they don't want to lose them themselves.
Right. Well, that's
that's
clearly true.
It is. And so
You see that at town meeting all the time.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyway,
Yep. Go ahead.
I just have another question, though, in that context. What do you say to a guy like the fellow who's sitting here waiting to be interviewed, who wants to make a career on Nantucket, and is in a job that has sort of a salary wrap around it, and the job is needed on the island?
About housing.
What do you say to him about housing?
I mean, here's my new one. I came up with this since our last meeting. Okay. In the 1960s. Our property values were like 1860 compared to the mainland.
Right.
Now our values are 2,216.
Right.
We have jumped over a century of inflation. You really have to look at that. Right. So when locals can't find a place to live that have generational families here, and yet we have people from off island coming to live here. I mean, it really is just about what you can afford, how much you want to pay, how much you're willing to pay. Even if
you're able to pay.
Just because you can afford something doesn't mean that you should pay it. Everybody has a different mindset as far as that goes. But I think the best part about our problem is you're never going to lose money here. In other words, if you buy a house, God bless you if you can afford to buy a house on a piece of land for less than $700,000 on Nantucket, you have found a piece of gold. But that property, you're going to be able to sell it. If you choose, if whatever your plans are here don't work out, and you leave in 10 years, 5 years, whatever, you're going to be able to take that property and make a few bucks possibly and be able to reset your life somewhere else for a lot less. It's just a unique scenario. I don't know what the answer is, Dan. There isn't really an answer. At least you can borrow. Here, the banks will do it because of the value of the land. It's a very complicated topic. I mean, it's a little bit beyond my fiscal knowledge, but I'm in the right ballpark on this.
Let's get down and dirty on something more specific.
More dirt?
More dirt. The Milk Street bike path.
Yes. Milk Street Extension.
Milk Street Extension bike path.
Yes.
And the moving of the telephone
Yes.
poles.
Easements have been granted by the property owners for the
Bike path.
for the wires and the supports that have to be put in
But
for the
there's an
poles.
issue
There's
for
a
one-
couple of them.
There's an issue for one particular organization, as you may know.
Oh, they're worried about the
Light and the Stride.
something to do with the lady talked the other night, 2 weeks ago. I saw her speak, and she was very good. The lady from Maya Mitchell.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is.
Shouldn't something like that?
I can't remember. What was her question?
The
Was
question
it?
is
I
that
forgot.
the
Was it a
light-
street light?
The poles are going to be 5 feet higher.
Okay.
The street lights are going to be moved over across the street, 5 feet higher, right in the line of the observatory.
I'm sure that'll get corrected. I mean, I would think
Why
that.
shouldn't that have been thought of in the planning?
Well, maybe that was overlooked. Maybe there's so many pieces to that. Getting this stuff done, and Dan, as you know, I mean, you see some of the drainage work that's being done. I think there was some things wrong up there that needed to get fixed.
Up where?
Up on that road. I mean, they're doing a little bit more than just
The bike path?
bike path. And, you know what I'm saying? I don't have the answer to that, obviously. I think the Wynn Street issue, the layout of Hummock Pond Road, Milk Street Extension, was over to the side, to the cemetery side. In other words, there wasn't a lot of room on the
Cemetery side.
no, on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
as far as how the road was constructed versus the layout. So there was a lot of different things
Well,
that had to
it's easy on
happen.
the cemetery side because
Because there's plenty of room. No, that's good, and that's a good thing.
Right.
Anyway, so I mean, getting a telephone pole moved, Dan. I mean, let's just be honest. It's the hardest thing to do on Nantucket is to move a pole. I mean,
Right.
it's unbelievable. The fact that this stuff's getting done, I just say thank you and God bless everyone that's worked on this because it's hard to do. So this little glitch about the light, I'm sure that will get fixed somehow through a process with National Grid. I don't think they have to have a light in a certain pole. Isn't that
I don't know.
something to do with town? I think that the selectmen can do
But
that.
apparently the problem is the contract. has
So I
been
know
signed.
there's occasional things that come in
The
from,
contract has been signed, apparently.
okay.
And so.
Signed with what, National Grid or
No,
Verizon
well,
or whoever?
Between the town and whoever's the GC on the.
Okay, all right.
And so National Grid says it's out of our hands. Verizon says it's out of our hands because this is what the contract says.
I
And-
can't answer that question.
Okay.
Sorry.
All
Dan,
right.
you're kind of getting me a little bit. I don't have an answer to that. All I know is you can go get a telephone pole number and you can report a light not working or you can report a need for a light, and there's a process to do that. I just don't know in a case like this how that gets changed as far as a new
Well, I mean, the
project.
ideal thing would be to put it underground.
Wow,
Obviously.
this is where we get into the cost is astronomical.
Right.
Everybody thinks that we can put stuff on. I understand the bill's got $3 a month, or
Yeah, but
we need to put. You know what? The underground stuff. really needs to happen where it has to happen, like Prospect in front of Vince
But-
Vacca's old house. That little area there needs to go underground. You forget about all these other places, like certain spots, because of right of way and some of these.
My only point is when you're playing, if you will, with a unique resource, which the Mariah Mitchell Observatory is, you've got to think about it.
Well,
anyway,
anyway,
I'll go on to something
okay,
else that you
go-
want to talk about.
Whatever we
Let's-
don't have a plan today. You're kind
No,
of getting me off guard. So
I
go
know.
ahead. Let's try some more.